Good afternoon, ladles and gerbil milk. Today I'm going to pick up where I left off on this piece of cable Damascus. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to slice this end off here. I'm going to grind all this clean and get it prepped, and it's going to get cut and stacked between some of this 15 and 20. And the idea here is to make a cable Damascus and see whether or not the pattern shows up, or if anything cool happens, or if it's just a couple of bold dark streaks. I don't know what's going to happen, so this is going to be interesting. Side note, this is the first time I've been in the shop since the last video. Basically, back pain was going like 10 alarms, and I just wasn't having it. So I've got to go ahead and get everything as angry as possible today and tomorrow, so that Tuesday, when they go in for some shots to test to see whether or not burning the nerve endings off is going to help, I can tell them, yes, it did help. I have to be at least a 5 on the scale. So that's what's been going on. I even tried to do a resin casting video in the middle of all this just to put something out there, and it didn't feel right, so it got deleted because, well, it sucked. So I'm going to pause this here. I'm going to get everything set up for cleanup and cutting on this, and we will get moving. Okay, so it's time to zip this ragged end off right here. And what I've got here is one of the $14 Harbor Freight grinders, the Drill Master. And I've got both model numbers of this one. And I'm just trying to find out what they're like to live with day in and day out for a long period. And so far, with the work I've done, there hasn't been anything to complain about. I mean, this is one of those cases where I'm starting to feel like you get a bit more than you pay for. I mean, you're not going to have the grunt and the power of a stronger motor or anything like that, but, I mean, it works. What more can you ask for? Fire in the hole! Okay, now looking at this, one thing I can't see is any D-lambs. Looks like a nice clean piece of steel. I just got to get rid of the ragged stuff on the sides. And we got this right here, which is clean. There's one little tiny spot that is probably going to be on the sacrificial end of this billet anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to go to the belt grinder and get rid of these sides and come back when it's time to take care of the face, because I'm going to do that with the flap wheel, save myself some expensive 2x72 belts. And we're back, and I've done some work on the top of this with the 2x72 just to save some time, but all I got to do now is get the rest of the scale cleaned off of this and get it ready so that it can be cut and stacked and welded with the 15 and 20. And we'll be good to go. I'm sure this will get boring fast, so I'll be back when I'm done with this. Okay, now it's time to make my cuts. I've already marked out what I need to cut for the 15 and 20, and then I got to clean the face of this up. And I've marked off my cut here on this. And this billet took a lot of work to clean up, enough to where I'm comfortable using it. It's not perfect, but I'm not fighting with it anymore. I didn't get everything welded quite as cleanly as I expected. There's a lot of little tiny D-lambs and stuff that I was chasing out, and I would have burned through the entire billet getting these last little bitty pieces out. So this won't be a perfect billet, but at this point it's just proof of concept. And maybe something interesting will come out of it. But fire in the hole. Okay, that's ready. I'm going to go ahead and cut the 15 and 20, and I'll be back when it's time to weld it up. Alright, let's get this bad boy welded up and ready to rock and or roll. And I'm wondering if I can't use the vise as my ground. I might give that a shot. That'd be convenient. Okay, I don't feel like that's going anywhere. Back in a minute. Okay, I got the big forge warming up. I'm going to try keeping the front closed off more than I usually do and see if I can't get this thing up to welding heat pretty fast. It's already starting to glow red inside, so I'm going to pop this thing in here. And once we get to the first heat, I'll start recording again. Back in a bit. before I do the scary part and turn it on its side. Wish me luck. Alright, 8B, because I can't say number 2 with a straight face. I may have built in a little bit of a problem. One side, the pieces are pretty far apart. So we'll see if I can't smash those in together. If not, I'm going to lose a lot of material that I'll have to cut off, which I guess ain't the end of the world, but I've already lost a lot of material, so let's see if I can salvage it. Alright, it's not taking hard to get hot at all. Do it. If you get a chance to buy a hammer from Bob over at B&B, do it. just for a minute. All right, ladies and germs. I've gone ahead and cut this thing down and got rid of all the stuff that didn't weld up. So my next step is going to be to hammer this on the side and square it up, and then round it and twist the bejesus out of it, which will hopefully pull it back in so that I can hammer it out into a nice flat billet. And if all goes well, this is going to become a kiradashi for my nephew, who upon talking to his dad, he did something with his Boy Scout thing. I forget exactly what the deal was, but I saw that and said, is it time for me to make him a knife? And his dad said, yeah, if you want to. So guess what? He's getting a knife, and it's going to be some stupid Damascus if it works. So yeah, I'll be back once this is good and hot and ready to smack around. Alright, this should be my last heat squaring it up. I took one heat and I've switched back to my old standard because I'm used to this and I have more control over it. And I need to be careful with this so I can square it up properly and then move it around. I don't want a bunch of cold shuts where the corners were, and I want to twist this as much as possible to get it to shrink back down so I can squash it out flat and get a wide billet, or a wide-ish billet. One more heat to square that up a little more and remove a low spot, and it's time to go around. And I'll come back when it's round and ready to twist. Okay, I'm about ready to start working on the twist. And what's frustrating is I own a leg vise, but it's not mounted on anything. Because I went to dig out supplies to mount it, and I don't have the nuts and bolts I thought I had. Or if I do, they're put up somewhere I can't find them. I know I had a whole bunch of random nuts and bolts in a big box, or a tub, and I hung on to them for something like this, and I can't find them. So it's laying on the floor next to this tiny machinist vise that I got to use for right now, and I don't have enough space to use it easily. Joy! that's a good start. I'll be back once the twisting is done. And then I get to test drive my Allen Schooner trademark mallet. See how that works. Yeah. Okay, I think that's about as twisted up as I want to make this. So now it's time to just hammer it out flat. And it's too straight to worry about the mallet, so we're just going to squish it out flat so that I can clean it up and we can see a pattern. I'll be back once all that's done. Okay, so I've got one deep cold shut. It's not a cold shut, but it pretty much splits this thing right about here. So what this means is I've got a long billet and a short billet, but I have everything I need to make what I need to make. I'm going to grind a face flat and then drop it in a quick 30-minute etch just to see what kind of pattern we've got out of this and see what I made. I have no idea what to expect, and we'll go from there. After that, I'll probably cut this down to the requisite size, get rid of this split right here, and then go ahead and make the Kiradashi out of the long billet, and take the short billet, squish it out, and see what I can make out of that too. So I'll be back after all that's done. This is going to be a long video, I can tell. I've had to stop and start so much that I have no idea how long it actually is. But that's okay. It's the first video in a while. Alright, so it's in the etch. The pattern looks really cool. I'm not going to give it away. I mean, it's nothing mind-blowing, but I did get an interesting effect. So the finished piece should look pretty good. I will show you better pictures and probably add some stills once this comes out of the etch in about a half hour and I get it, the acid neutralized and everything rinsed off. See you in a bit. Okay, so here we are, and I'll be honest, I'm glad I did this. This camera is not really picking up the interesting gradients and textures and patterns that the cable has made as layers in another Damascus billet. So I am definitely going to have to include some still pictures at the end of this, but suffice it to say, I am extremely pleased with how this turned out. This is awesome. I guess I'm going to call this Curiosity Damascus because I got no other idea what to call it. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I've got for this video, and it bears mentioning that the Damascus steel that I made with Ting Ting at his place on Pricey McPressface has gone in the mail to Mercy Oak Smithing. He should be getting that box quite soon, and I know I'm going to be keeping an eye out for a video to pop up when he's got time. He said he's been really busy between school, football, trying to work in the shop, and everything else. I understand that completely. But the deed is done, so hopefully he enjoys what he gets out of it, and that should make a beautiful knife, especially with his skills. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's all I've got for right now. So hopefully the next video will be a little sooner. I can't make any promises, but until next time, praise the forge and pass the borax. Y'all stay safe in your shops. I'll see you later.